In last video, we discussed whether to throw our custom exceptions or to return a result object. We discussed the differences, the similarities, and we implemented the result pattern based on Milan's videos. By now, Milan has dropped another video, the 2 best practices for returning API errors, which reminded me that I skipped over the API results too quickly. I basically returned results.batRequest for almost any error instead of using the proper status codes like 404 not found. So let's quickly recap what we did. We created a result class to return a success or a failure result, and that could contain an error object, a custom one, in the error class. And then we could create our custom error methods or properties of type error and use that in our failure results. So let's take a look at this example. We return a result.failure when there's no existing user while we're trying to reset the password of an existing user. And then we could say result.failure and pass down our custom not found error object. And then based on whether that was successful or that failed, we could return the appropriate API response result of no content, okay, created, and so on to get the proper status code. Or when it failed, a bad request or a not found or a forbidden or a conflict and so on. But as it's currently implemented, it's always returning a bad request for failures. But there's multiple different failures that can occur in this business logic, which is a not found and a reset password failed. So the last one could be translated or represented as a bad request, but the not found, we might rather translate that to a 404 not found. But first, I'm going to remove some things that I'm not using. First, this implicit operator. So I'm going to remove those. Another thing I didn't really find that useful is this error.none. I think maybe can just have a nullable. Let's see. And let's remove that. So now these condition not met and null values aren't used, so we can remove those. And the none, I'm not going to. It's only used in the result class for now. I think over there. Okay. And then we can put these on one line. Null. Okay. And let's now tackle the error object. First, we'll make a enum, and then let's see. Code is go. Of course, we need to specify the properties type. Okay, this code we can just do name of not found, and then it wants a parameter of not found. And we could make a base error for each error type. So validation forbidden conflict, validation forbidden conflict, and pass the proper type. And you can even do some kind of method overloading, however you want to format your descriptions. And you can now Let's see, this forbidden could now be an error.forbidden. And then these other ones we can replace with error.validation, who are actually more like conflict. Email already exists or is already confirmed account. And after replacing all that, the codebase is still just working as before because the implementation is just the same. So we're still just able to return the odd errors.forbidden. So what we'll do next is, based on the error type, we'll return the proper API result. So instead of returning results bad request everywhere, we're going to make an extension method on the iResult object. Static iResult. So the minimal API return type. It's actually an extension on the result object. And now I'm just going to copy over a similar logic as for the custom exception filter, which basically just checks what is the exception type and handle it accordingly. So then translate that into a proper API result. And of course, we're not dealing with exceptions now, but with error objects. So I'm going to clean this code up. So that would look more like this. We just pass the error object to each method. And we fill in the fields accordingly. And I added this extension method. Now we need to switch on the result.error type. So you could do it as follows, checking the error type, not found, forbidden, conflict validation, or the default one, if it's anything else, just the handle unknown error. You could directly return a forbidden or conflict, passing along what you need to pass along. Some of these don't have a constructor that accepts your result data, which is a bit of a waste. So you can choose whether to use one of these or to construct your own problem details for each error type with the proper values, the proper status code, and so on. I'm going to rename this to error result, add an if statement, exception, just to make sure that we're not misusing this extension method. And now we should be able to replace all of these bad requests simply by using the result object and the extension method to error result. It should map or translate to the, in this case, what would it be? Either a conflict, email in use, or a registration error, which is probably a validation error. Same for this one. Let's return the result to error result, and then here as well. And then lastly, I can probably modify this match result extension. Let's move this one over to, I named it the same. And then we could say something like to error result. And then this should be my result. And then we can get rid of this one. And even type. Because we're always just using it to return from the minimal API endpoint. So the iResult type is okay. And then in here we can also remove this bad request. And maybe you can take it even further and add some more methods on the result object. Maybe now we can just say result.notFound. So we can play around with that. But that's all for this video. As usual, I'll leave my code on the patreon.com/gizstupid. If you want access to all of my best NuGet packages, you can get the original code for free by signing up at gizcode.com/products. And if you want a brand website similarly as the Gizcode brand website, that is also available on my Patreon. That includes a lot of features to reuse in your own applications or to just build your own portfolio or brand website with. To learn from or to adapt however you like, do get your own copy. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.